In April of 1945, Klaus Hahn, a young German pilot of just 17 years, faced a desperate mission. Tasked with the impossible, his orders were clear. Bring down an enemy B-17 bomber by using his own plane as a weapon, effectively transforming himself into a kamikaze. Surrounded by chaos, wounded, and pursued, Klaus made the harrowing decision to attack, believing it to be his final act. What he would learn 58 years later about this perilous mission transformed grief into a profound sense of relief and joy. In the waning days of World War II, with Germany's defeat looming, the Nazi regime faced relentless bombings by the Allied forces. Entire cities were reduced to rubble, leaving scores of civilians dead each week. Amidst this devastation, a special German unit was established, the Sonderkommando Elbe. Their daring objective was straightforward yet deadly: halt the waves of Allied bombers by ramming their aircraft directly into them. Young Klaus Hahn, confronting personal tragedy and loss wrought by Allied bombings that obliterated his hometown and claimed innocent lives, chose to join this audacious unit. He saw it as a means of vengeance. Though assured the mission was not suicidal, that the ultimate goal was to strike and evacuate via parachute, the realities were far grimmer than anticipated. Hahn readied himself for action in a modified Bf-109. As Klaus took flight, isolated from his squadron early on and ambushed by a squad of P-51 Mustangs, the superior American fighters bore down with merciless speed and agility. Bullets ripped through his plane. A direct hit in the cockpit left him wounded, his arm immobilized. Now with an aircraft virtually crippled, Hahn attempted to bail out, but glimpsed at the crucial moment a formation of B-17 bombers. Consumed by rage and desperation, Klaus directed his doomed aircraft toward the heart of their formation. In a heartbeat, his plane collided with the tail of a B-17, destroying its rear turret and inflicting severe damage. Inside, pilot Bud Wentz and his crew struggled fiercely to stabilize the beleaguered bomber, its controls fractured, devoid of elevators and rudder. Meanwhile, Klaus found himself plummeting, dazed and uncertain. Miraculously, Klaus managed to deploy his parachute at approximately 3,000 feet, descending injured but alive. His arm, grievously wounded during the impact, necessitated amputation in a military hospital. While he survived, questions gnawed at him. Had he succeeded in downing the B-17, and how many lives had his actions claimed? His adversary, Bud Wentz, faced his own trials, tasked with landing their severely compromised bomber. Left without essential controls such as the rudder or elevators, Wentz ingeniously maneuvered the bomber using the engines alone. Restoring a semblance of direction, they chanced upon a crude landing strip. Deep within German territory, uncertain whether it lay in hostile or friendly hands, they found an abandoned Allied base. Against all odds, the crew's lives were spared. Decades unfolded, with Klaus burdened by guilt, believing his desperate act had condemned an entire crew to death. However, in 2003, the truth surfaced when a young writer unearthed the intentional strike by a German kamikaze. Contact was made with Bud Wentz, who, astonished by the revelation, embarked on tracing veterans of the Sonderkommando Elbe, finally intersecting paths with Klaus Hahn. The news shattered Klaus's world in unimaginable ways. The B-17 crew had all survived. Overwhelmed, Klaus wept for almost 60 years, burdened with the belief he had taken innocent lives, now learning that his actions hadn't led to any fatalities. It wasn't courage, Klaus reflected. It was desperation. But at least I can live knowing I didn't kill anyone that day. The Sonderkommando Elbe's missions, born of a regime's desperate final hours, resulted in negligible military impact. However, individual stories, like those of Klaus Hahn and Bud Wentz, reveal the resilient humanity that can endure even amidst the horrors of war. Two men, once diametric adversaries, shared an unforeseen connection that, decades later, wrought relief and understanding. The story of Klaus Hahn invites profound reflections on warfare and redemption. Could it be that in even the darkest times, redemption remains possible? This narrative calls upon us to consider perspectives, embrace emotions beyond animosity, and acknowledge stories of humanity and connection amid conflict.